Every country in the world is in debt. This is not a small amount of debt. It exists on such a massive scale that it is almost impossible to fully comprehend. The United States alone carries more than $38 trillion in debt. Europe holds trillions more. Japan, China, developing economies, oil-rich nations, export giants, every single one is caught inside the same system. But there is a question that quietly breaks everything you think you understand. If everyone is in debt, who is the creditor? Because debt, by definition, requires two sides. One must owe, and another must be owed. That is the basic rule. So if the entire world owes money, who is left on the other side of the equation? At first glance, the answer appears simple. Governments owe investors. Countries owe banks. Nations owe each other. But when you follow this chain deeply enough, something strange begins to happen. The lines begin to blur. The roles begin to overlap. And eventually, the system folds into itself. Because the truth is not what most people expect. The world is not in debt to a single hidden institution. The world is in debt to itself. And that realization changes everything. To understand how we arrived here, you have to go back to where it all began. Not to modern finance, not to Wall Street, not to digital banking, but to war. In 1694, England was engaged in a costly conflict and running out of gold. The crown needed money it did not have, so it made a deal. Wealthy merchants would lend money to the state. In return, they would receive something new, a permanent stream of interest backed by future taxes. This was not just a loan. This was a system. To manage it, a new institution was created, the Bank of England, and with it came a revolutionary idea. The state could spend money it did not yet possess. In exchange, lenders received something more powerful than gold: a promise. A promise that could be traded, bought, and sold. That promise became the first government bond, and that bond became the foundation of the modern financial system. Other nations quickly adopted it. France applied it, the Netherlands refined it, and the United States used it to finance its revolution and expand westward. Debt was no longer a sign of weakness. It became a symbol of power. Because the ability to borrow meant the ability to act. Empires no longer needed to conquer gold. They could issue promises instead. And those promises became the new foundation of wealth. Today, that foundation has grown far beyond anything its creators could have imagined. Global debt now exceeds $300 trillion, nearly 3 times the size of the global economy. Every country borrows, every bank lends, and every citizen, whether they realize it or not, is part of this system. Through taxes, through savings, through pension funds, through inflation, everyone is connected. But the question still remains: who is on the other side? Start with the largest player, the United States. Its debt is not just a national issue, it is a global anchor. Roughly half of its debt is held by investors, but most of those investors are not foreign powers. They are domestic institutions. Banks, pension funds, insurance companies, mutual funds, and the Federal Reserve itself. The remaining portion is held abroad by countries like Japan and China. But even together, they represent only a fraction of the total. This is why the idea that one country controls another through debt is only a partial truth. Because most nations, including the largest economy in the world, owe the majority of their debt to themselves. And this is where the illusion begins. Governments issue bonds, institutions buy them, central banks purchase them and inject new money into the system, citizens pay taxes, those taxes fund interest payments, and those payments flow back into pensions, investments, and financial institutions. Money moves in a circle. The debt is real, but the creditor is not a distant entity. It exists within the same system. And this pattern is not limited to one country. It extends across the globe. Countries lend to each other. Central banks hold foreign currencies as reserves. Developing nations borrow from advanced economies, and advanced economies depend on those same nations to recycle capital back into their markets. It becomes a loop, a network where every promise is backed by another promise. Like a table where every participant holds claims against another. No one truly owns the system, but no one can leave it either. Because the moment someone walks away, the entire structure begins to collapse. And above all of this sits another layer, the most powerful one, the markets. Behind every government bond is a vast network of institutions managing trillions of dollars. Pension funds securing retirements, hedge funds seeking returns, sovereign wealth funds managing national assets, and central banks controlling liquidity. These entities determine who can borrow cheaply and who must pay the price to survive. When there is confidence, the system functions. When confidence disappears, everything changes. Currencies collapse, interest rates surge, governments are forced into difficult decisions, and entire economies are reshaped. Because in the modern world, power is not only political, it is also financial. And at the center of this system are the institutions that keep it running. Central banks. They do not simply manage money, they create it. Every time a central bank buys government bonds, it injects new currency into the system. But that money does not come from nothing. It is tied to debt. Every unit of currency represents a liability somewhere else. Invisible, but real. There is no such thing as debt-free money. For decades, this system has sustained itself on one thing: confidence. As long as investors believe governments will continue to pay interest, the system keeps moving. Not because debts are eliminated, but because they are maintained. And this is the part most people do not fully understand. Modern debt is not designed to be repaid. It is designed to be continued. Governments do not behave like individuals. They do not aim to eliminate their obligations. They refinance them again and again, indefinitely. Interest becomes the core mechanism, the cost of keeping the system alive. And the global economy depends on it. Because if this cycle stops, everything built on top of it begins to break. We have seen what happens when confidence weakens. In Greece, in Argentina, in Sri Lanka. When the system is strained, its underlying structure becomes visible. But even after collapse, the system does not disappear. It resets. New agreements replace old ones. New conditions are imposed, and the same structure continues under a different form. Because stopping is not an option. This system must keep moving. And that leads to an uncomfortable conclusion. The financial system does not want debt to disappear. It needs it. Government bonds are not just liabilities. They are assets. They are collateral. They are reserves. They are the foundation of global finance. If major governments were to fully pay off their debt, it would not create stability. It would create disruption. Liquidity would shrink. Markets would lose their most trusted instruments, and the system would struggle to function. That is why debt continues, not randomly, but in a steady rhythm. And this is why discussions about eliminating national debt often miss the deeper reality. The goal is not to remove debt. The goal is to sustain it, to keep it believable. Because once belief fades, the numbers themselves stop mattering. Confidence breaks, and the system begins to collapse. But even within this closed loop, there is another reality. The world may owe money to itself, but not everyone benefits equally. Interest payments do not flow evenly through society. They move upward, from taxpayers, from workers, from those who generate income, toward institutions and asset holders. Debt is not just a relationship between countries. It is a mechanism that shapes distribution. That is why rising debt often coincides with rising inequality. The system rewards those who own financial assets and burdens those who pay into it. And yet, both sides are necessary. Debtors and creditors are part of the same engine, but they are not equal. And this brings us back to the original question. If everyone is in debt, who is the creditor? The answer is not a single country, not a single institution, not a hidden organization. It is the system itself, a network of promises, a structure built on trust. And as long as that trust holds, the system continues to expand. But if that trust breaks, the illusion ends, and what remains is reality. Debt is a promise that cannot be sustained forever. And when that moment comes, the question stops being theoretical. It becomes real. Because at that point, the creditor is no longer abstract. It is real, and it includes all of us.